So with OTA starting for the Green Bay Packers for the 2025 NFL season, and the first day of OTAs or practice being today, I want to make this video very quick and very short of just some clips and highlights that I've seen on Twitter from the first day of practice or the first day of OTAs from the Green Bay Packers. It's nothing crazy. It was a walkthrough practice. No one's even in pads. It's just helmets and things like that. But I want to make this video just to recap the first day of OTAs, but also showcase some of these new guys that we have on this team, like a Matthew Golden, a Savon Williams, a Nate Hobs, who's on your screen right here, and things of that nature. So without further ado, man, let's get right into this video. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen these clips already, but if you haven't, we're both going to react and watch these for the first time. If you're interested in more Packers-related content and just NFL content in general, please consider subscribing. But without further ado, let's get right into this. The first clip obviously had to be Matthew Golden, the first-round pick from this year's draft class. And I don't know who number 84 is off the top of my head. If someone in the comments could let me know who number 84 is. But I want you guys to kind of look at the difference in route running ability and just quickness and explosiveness between Matthew Golden and this other wide receiver. Matthew Golden, obviously, we know him for the speed and things like that. And he's going to bring some really good dynamicness, route running ability, and just explosiveness to this offense. But to me, man, the one thing that I was a huge fan of Matthew Golden for, and the one thing that I think is going to help this offense and Jordan Love in particular a lot, those hands, man. Jordan Love, he could be very, very accurate, but at times, and this isn't a shot, he's our franchise quarterback, but he could be a little bit inaccurate at times. Matthew Golden's going to be a wide receiver that's going to be able to jump for those passes that are a little bit overthrown, a little bit high, but also come down with those passes that are behind him as well in the middle parts of the field. So I think this is going to be a receiver that definitely helps Jordan Love out a lot, especially in the middle parts of the field. And he's going to be a wide receiver one for the future, man. I'm saying it right now. Next clip is Anthony Belton, the second-round pick from this year's draft class. And one thing I will say, even though this is a very short clip, he is a big human being. This dude is humongous. I mean, look at him next to Zach Tom. He honestly is way bigger than Zach Tom. And Zach Tom is someone that could play, is going to be, our tackle for the future for many, many years. So you get tackle by tackle comparison right here. You can see he's a little bit beefier. And Anthony Belton is definitely a beefy, a big tackle for this team, and just big offensive lineman in general. Might be the beefiest or one of the beefier dudes on this O-line already. Really excited for the future of Anthony Belton. I do think he's going to be our future left tackle, potentially even guard, who knows. But I do think he's going to have a really long-term future with this team. Do think he needs that year to kind of develop a little bit more, but who knows? I mean, if he beats Rasheed Walker through OTAs and training camp, mini camps, things like that, and he becomes a starting left tackle, I have no questions in my mind, no doubts in my mind that the Green Bay Packers are making the right move. So, really excited for Anthony Belton's future with the Green Bay Packers going forward. Next clip right here is Tucker Kraft catching a football from Jordan Love. And I'm excited for Tucker Kraft, man, going into this year. We've seen how good he was last year, man. Already one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL. But then we seen last year, his athleticism completely, kicked off the rails. I mean, this dude's one of the better tight ends already in the NFL after the catch. He's very physical. Not the most explosive and, greatest route runner for a tight end, but he has very physical hands, very strong hands, especially in the middle parts of the field. Very physical, good run blocker, good pass blocker, and then he's very dynamic after the catch. So I know there's a lot of debate, going forward, who's going to be the number one option in this offense when it comes to passing the football. And I know it's harder for tight ends to be that legit number one option in any offense when it comes to passing, but why can't Tucker Kraft be that guy is my question to you guys. I mean, tell me one thing in the comments that you see a huge flaw with Tucker Kraft's game as a tight end. I know he's not as versatile as some other tight ends. You can't really line him out there like Luke Musgrave, who we have on this team, but you can't tell me there's a huge flaw with Tucker Kraft's game as a tight end. So really excited for Tucker Kraft in this offense going forward. I think this is a guy who still has a lot more to unlock. And I think, his range or ceiling in the NFL is top 10, top 5 tight end, in the NFL. So really excited for Tucker Kraft going forward. The next clip is free agent signing Aaron Banks. Just talking to Talford, giving him some tips, being a leader. And one thing I will say about Aaron Banks, same thing I said about Anthony Belton, he's a big dude at the guard position. And I know last year we were really good at running the football. I mean, Josh Jacobs was easily a top 5, top 3 running back in the NFL last season. And I expect this run game to be even better next year, especially because we loaded up even more on the O-line. And we got a lot of big guys like Aaron Banks, Anthony Belton, and this O-line for the future, for foreseeable future, it looks like it's going to be a very physical, a dominant run blocking, unit. So really excited for Josh Jacobs this year. Marshawn Lloyd, if he can stay healthy, but just more in general, more excited for this O-line and all the big guys we got when it comes to running the football. Next clip is Adrian Cooper and then Isaiah Simmons right after him, but I wanted to show this clip because I wanted to talk about Adrian Cooper, and maybe it's a crazy thing to say about a guy that was just a rookie going into his second year, but I truly think Adrian Cooper, based on the flashes he showed us last year and the talent that was showcased, could become an all-pro in his second year. Call me crazy, say that's a huge fetch for a guy going to his second year, things like that. But I think, if he can stay consistently more on the football field and could just stay healthy at the beginning of the year and just play the whole year, I think this is a guy, based on what he showed us last year, his physicality, his speed, the way he plays the game, being one of our better tacklers on this team pretty easily. I think this is a guy that could become an all-pro in his second year in the NFL. But you could call me biased, you could call me whatever you want. But I truly think, just based off potential and talent, what he showed for us last year, if he could stay more healthy and stay on the football field, this is a guy that could definitely become an all-pro in his second year. Next clip is Savon Williams, and this dude looks so identical to Cordell Patterson. And I think he's going to play a lot more snaps than people anticipate in his first year for this Packers team. Whether that's just on the offense, in the backfield, receiver, slot, wherever, or whether that's strictly on special teams. I think this is a guy that's going to play a lot more snaps than people anticipate. And if you want to compare it to Deebo Samuel, Cordell Patterson, one of those gadget players at the wide receiver position, if he could be anything like one of those players for this team, like I said, I expect him to play a lot of snaps, but I expect him to be involved very early on in NFL games because this is a guy that's a tone setter at the wide receiver position, or just in general. He's a guy that you want to have the ball in his hands behind the line of scrimmage because he has the ability to make guys miss and gain a lot of yards. But he's just an athletic guy, man. I mean, you throw the ball in his premises. I know his hands aren't the greatest and he had a high drop rate, but you watch him on film, yes, he'll drop these simple passes, but you put the ball in his premises sometimes. I mean, the dude's able to jump out of his frame sometimes to make some of these crazy acrobatic catches. So there's a lot of potential. There's a high ceiling with Savon Williams, but I do expect him to play a lot more snaps than people anticipate in his first year for the Green Bay Packers. The next clip is Nate Hobs, one of those free agent signings from this offseason, and really intrigued to see what they decide to do with him once Jair Alexander comes back. I know today during OTAs they had him a little bit on the boundary, and then I think in dime formations they put him inside at the slot cornerback position. So once Jair Alexander comes back, we know Jair Alexander is our boundary cornerback. He's our clear-cut cornerback number one on this team. So just going to be more intrigued to find out where they put Nate Hobs, but wherever they put Nate Hobs, on the boundary or inside at the slot cornerback position, I know this guy's going to bring it. He's going to give us 110% effort. He has very high energy. He's a dog, plays with a chip on his shoulder. And the only real knock with Nate Hobs when he was playing with the Raiders was that he wasn't always consistently on the football field. But if he can stay more healthy for this team, I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be a fan favorite and somebody that's going to fit perfectly into this defense just because of how physical he plays and how much he flies to the football for a cornerback, man. One thing you will notice about Nate Hobs throughout these first couple of games he plays for the Packers, he's going to be a very physical cornerback. He's going to come downhill and get into some of these piles and make some of these dirty tackles. So really intrigued and interested to find out what they do with Nate Hobs once Jair Alexander does come back, because he is going to come back to this team in my personal opinion. But overall, man, this secondary next year, the safety room, the cornerback room, very loaded and very deep. And finally, the last clip on this video is Xavier McKinney, who in my personal opinion, and it's not crazy to say, but it is kind of crazy to say, is the best player on this defense in only 1 year. And I expect bigger things from him this year. He's going to year 2 under this Jeff Hafley defensive scheme, and I expect him to be even better this year. And I know people will talk about the interceptions right off the bat, and rightfully so. I mean, the dude was a stud. He is a stud. The dude is the best ball-hawking safety in the NFL, best pass coverage safety in the NFL. But when you just turn on the tape sometimes and you look at the plays that don't show up on the box score, his presence alone, his knowledge, him knowing where to be at, him dropping back in a certain spot is the reason why quarterbacks don't like to take some of these deep, pass attempts on this defense. Xavier McKinney, it is hard to get him out of position because he is so good with his eyes, man. And I did a lot of deep diving into his film after the season ended from his first year with the Packers. And I mean, his presence alone is the reason why this defense was so good even without Jair Alexander. So this is a guy that is one safety back there, but feels like he's two dudes because he's able to just control the whole football field one of the better safeties in the NFL, and in my personal opinion, the best safety in the NFL. So he had to be on this video, and rightfully so. The dude's a legit stud. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up the video. There's definitely more clips from the first day of OTAs, but I don't want to drag this video out. I felt like 5 to 7 clips was good enough. So that's going to wrap up the video. If you're interested in more Packers-related content or just NFL content in general, please consider subscribing. And let me know in the comments who you guys are more interested by or more intrigued by, whether that's a rookie free agent signing that we had from this year, or even a player coming into their second year, third year, whatever it is, from the Packers this year. There's a lot of guys that can make that huge step and become even more impact players from the receiving core, cornerback room, linebacker, defensive line. So let me know who that player is for you guys. It's been your boy Sports Culture. I'm out.